Hi, how are you doing today? This wonderful Friday Eve. It's such a beautiful day out here in Tampa Bay, and I'm going to go enjoy it in just a few minutes. But I wanted to talk about communication today and communicating your self-worth or your worth or whatever that is. So, right before I was logging on, and thinking about what I was going to talk about today, which that's what I do every day, just so you know. I think about it right before I'm about to go live. So, with that, I try to keep it very authentic and real. And I do it purposely right before I'm about to go on the blog because I don't want to spend time thinking about it because then it won't be authentic and real. But I'll tell you, just the minute or two before, I was like, oh, if I talk about this today, maybe the client will know I'm talking about them because maybe they're starting to watch my vlog. But you know what? I'm not going to even worry about it. Okay. Because my commitment was to be real to you. Hi, viewer. So I'm saying, I'm so sorry. I had to watch that. I was with a client today, and it's probably one of my favorite things to do. It's talk to the staff. And I have this method of talking to the staff. I have 10 questions that I ask everybody. And usually it's just to get an understanding of how I can help more and how I can be more impactful within the business. And it always starts with the team. So I did that today and it was great. I got such great feedback and I have such wonderful new ideas for this practice and really, really beneficial. And I'm glad I decided to do it. I decided to do it just yesterday. I was going to just observe. And then I thought, why would I do something that I don't believe in? Really, I was asked to observe and I decided not to observe. I decided to have conversation because that's what I love to do. So the feedback was so good and so helpful. And there's one thing across the board that I hear a lot, right? And I asked this one question, and it's, how do you like to be rewarded? And there's always a pause. And I would say 95% of the time, I get this standard response. I really just want to hear thank you a little bit more. Or it would be really nice to hear good job. It would be really nice to hear, I know there were a few mistakes made today, but all in all, it was great. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. Because after I go through this and I tell my clients what questions I ask, the concern is always that it's just going to be monetary. And then we're going to have to start throwing money out to staff. And it's never that, you know. And I love being able to prove that by having the answer to that question always being the same. 95% of the time, that's what it is. And I got to say, the first time I heard it today, it made me sad. Charlie Brown's here. Did you hear him? The second time, you know, then I just start getting numb to it because I know that's what's coming. And it's so true. Like everybody just wants to be appreciated and validated. So yeah, you got to say thank you to your staff. Even if mistakes happen, right? You got to just say thank you because certainly nobody's trying to like screw up during the day. That's not the goal. But there is something to be said about speaking up for yourself. You know, there are two really big incidents that happened in my career that I will never forget. And the first time was being yelled at by a neurosurgeon in New York. And I won't forget that, like ever. I'm sorry. It was a neurologist. It wasn't a neurosurgeon. Dr. Fromm was super nice. He would never yell at me or anybody, I don't think. But this one doctor really, really let me have it and was really questioning my authority and my role and comparing myself to his credentials. And for that moment that I was being berated in front of other staff members that were my employees, I took a breath and I walked away. And I decided to handle it another time. And the other time was a good choice because had I said some of the things that I was thinking, it wouldn't have been good. I was able to collect my thoughts and just go and have a very serious conversation. And I was able to relay that I will never be spoken to like that again. And then it never happened again. I won't bore you with the details, but that's what happened. And then I had another boss in New York that was so rude to me that I called in sick the next day. Huh. And I don't advise that, but I was distraught about how upset he made me. And I went in the following day and I sat him down and I told him that my father doesn't speak to me like that. So I'm certainly not going to allow you to speak like that to me. And it worked. And he never mistreated me again. So that said, I've heard many, many nurses, front office, back office, managers, just complain about how doctors have spoken to them. And sometimes it's not just the doctors, it's nurses or managers talking to each other. And it's alarming to hear that so often, but it is often. It's not like it's once in a while, it's consistent. And I think that it's always best for the person that is being berated or disciplined, especially in front of others. I am so not down with that. Like, that is just not appropriate ever. But you have a choice, and the choice is always to communicate your self-worth. Because what happens is we get resentful, and that's it's just common. And before you know it, you're thinking about leaving and getting another job, and it was just one incident, or maybe it was more than one, but it's piling up and you're never discussing it. You're talking about it. You might be chit-chatting with your other coworkers about it, or your friends, or your husband when you get home, or your wife if it's a man. But 9 times out of 10, this is what happens with women. It's not so much with men. Men don't have a problem telling you, don't you dare talk to me like that. It's really more with women, what I have found. That is my experience. So it makes me sad, especially in this day of women empowerment. And that's how I started my day, with one of my other clients going on the news talking about women speaking up for themselves. And sure enough, I walk into a practice and a lot of these women don't stand up for themselves. And then they just become depressed or resentful, and it's a vicious cycle. So I do not relate to that at all. Zip, zero, nada, nil. Okay? Those incidents that I was talking about, I was in my 20s. I'm 45. If somebody speaks to me inappropriately, I'm telling you right away. I don't even blink. If somebody mispronounces my name, I tell them. Not so much my last name, because everybody mispronounces our last name wrong. But say somebody called me Shannon instead of Sharon. Immediately, I'm like, no, my name is Sharon. Get it right. I'm kidding. But really, you really have to stand up for yourself, especially in business. So I would constantly get staff coming to me and telling me, and what they want me to do is they want me to speak to the doctor or the employer, whoever it is, for them. I just don't think that's very effective. I think that if you have any self-worth or any self-esteem, you will tackle it on your own. You got to pull up those big girl panties, and you got to go for yours, girls. So today was really, really great. Overall, really, really great. I got to have some really good conversations with staff members, and I really, really love doing that. I love to be able to empower women and tell them that it's okay to speak up for themselves. Just speak your mind. That's it. What's the worst that's going to happen? Nothing, I promise. Well, let's cover that for a quick second. I know you might be scared to get fired. That's reality, right? I really understand that. I just, I don't subscribe to that. I believe that a lot of people just need to be told when they're speaking out of turn. I really do. I don't think that's ever cause for termination. I think that fear is unrealistic. I think if somebody is speaking to you inappropriately, you have every right to tell them. And if you do get fired, then you probably will be better off somewhere else. So I just don't believe in any type of abuse, verbal abuse, any type, and it shouldn't be tolerated in the workplace. And it's not like it was that bad at this practice I was at today, but believe me, I read an email today from another practice. where I have to get like a third party HR group in there because it's out of control. It's a lot of women's stuff. We just should be supporting each other and building each other up. And, oh, I didn't bring it over here, but I did. My client for my birthday that passed in October got me this beautiful necklace that says, Goddess. Okay. Got to have some self-esteem to wear that thing. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.